In May 2013, 60 miles off the coast of Nigeria, a tugboat carrying 12 men was hit by a rogue wave in the middle of the night. It flipped completely upside down and sank to the bottom of the Atlantic Ocean in 30 seconds. Harrison Okene, the ship's 29-year-old cook, woke up in pure chaos. Water slamming against the dark hallway, he was wearing nothing but his shorts, and the ship slammed against the ocean floor 100 feet down. Every single crew member drowned instantly, but Harrison didn't. As the ship rested upside down in complete darkness, Harrison squeezed into a small engineer's bathroom. The water flooded up to his chest, and then it suddenly stopped. A tiny 4-foot pocket of trapped air had been formed in the corner of the ceiling. He was alive, but he was trapped at the bottom of the ocean in ice-cold water, surrounded by total darkness, with no food, no light, and rapidly shrinking supply of oxygen. The next 60 hours, Harrison hung onto a floating mattress in pitch blackness, shivering uncontrollably. Because the ship was at the bottom of the Atlantic, the water pressure was 3 times normal atmospheric pressure. Every breath he took was slowly turning the tiny air pocket into carbon dioxide. Then, on the second day, the real horror started. Through the thick metal hull of the ship, Harrison began hearing a loud clanking noise. It was coming from the darkness outside his door. At first, he thought it was help. But then came the sound of tearing metal and splashing. Large ocean predators had found the sunken ship. In total darkness, Harrison had to listen to marine life scavenging the remains of his crewmates just feet away from where he was floating. He knew if he made a single sound or splashed in the water, whatever was out there would swim through the broken doorway and drag him under. He squeezed his eyes and began to pray. By day 3, his oxygen was almost gone and his skin was peeling due to the salt water. He started to hallucinate. Then he saw a light from the water. A team of South African deep-sea divers had finally reached the shipwreck. Their mission wasn't a rescue. It was a body retrieval. They assumed everyone on board had drowned 3 days ago. Harrison saw the dim light of a diver's flashlight moving through the murky water outside his room. He knew this was his last chance. If they left, he would die in the air pocket within hours. With the last bit of energy in his body, Harrison lowered himself back into the freezing water and reached out into the blackness. On the surface, the dive supervisor was monitoring the camera feed on the diver's helmet. The diver swept his flashlight across a floating arm in the water and reached out to grab it, expecting a corpse. Suddenly, the cold, wet hand clamped firmly around the diver's wrist. The diver panicked, screaming into his radio that a dead body had grabbed him. On the video monitor, the dive controller yelled, "He's alive! He's alive! Grab him!" The diver broke the surface of the air pocket and saw Harrison staring at him. He couldn't believe his eyes. Harrison had been underwater for 72 hours. But the rescue was far from over. Because Harrison had been breathing compressed air at the floor of the ocean for 3 days, his body was saturated with lethal amounts of nitrogen. If they brought him straight to the surface, his blood would instantly boil, causing fatal decompression sickness. Divers had to put a helmet on Harrison and swim him out of the sunken ship. They then locked him into a diving bell. The next 60 hours inside a pressurized chamber on a rescue vessel just to safely return his body to normal pressure. Out of the 12 crew members, Harrison was the sole survivor, a man who literally raised himself from the dead at the bottom of the sea. If you have enjoyed this content, please consider liking and subscribing, as doing so will help me know that you want more content like this. That's all I got for now. Thanks.